Well, a very good evening to you, and thanks for clicking on to this evening's edition of Vogan's Views in Europe for the 7th of March. And of course, if you live in the United States, you'll be aware of the major solar flare that's erupted from the sun. This is off the Weather Channel, and there's plenty of articles off AccuWeather and the Weather Channel and whatnot about this solar flare and the increased chance of seeing the Aurora Borealis. And it certainly seems to be a year where we have seen an increased viewing ability, so to speak, for seeing this event take place. And of course, when you get these solar flares blasting off the face of the sun, that of course sends the northern lights basically across the northern hemisphere. And over the next few nights, we are going to see an increased chance across the United States of seeing the aurora, and especially across places that are further south than you would typically expect. This is actually off AccuWeather.com. This is the viewing probability of their of the site. So take a look at that off AccuWeather and see if you live in the region where there's a good potential or a bad potential. But certainly we have got a lot of interesting things taking place at the moment. Also noticing here that there's statistics for the winter now starting to surface off the internet, and this is off the Weather Channel, and you can see here the map, basically the meteorological winter between December 2011 and February 2012, and you notice how warm the winter has been across the lower 48. Just remarkable. Nowhere has seen a below normal winter this year. And look at how many states, basically from Montana all the way down to Florida and up to Maine, you see the much above normal temperatures for the whole. This is given the 3-month period of meteorological winter. Boy, what a warm winter it has been, and what a disappointing winter, of course, for all you snow lovers out there, include myself. The winter here in the UK has been disappointing as well, so you're not alone. But certainly we've got plenty of warm weather at the moment across the United States, from the plains up into the northeast corridor. Now you notice here, trough down into the southwest desert, pumping that southwesterly flow all the way from West Texas, eastern New Mexico, all the way up into the Great Lakes. And I'm going to actually quickly pull up, if I can find it for you, the current temperatures of the Weather Channel, and you can see here just how warm the temperatures are. Look at that there. We've had a front push through the Twin Cities. Temperatures were in the 50s this morning, dropped down into 36 degrees now. 67 for Chicago. Look at the mid to upper 60s across the Ohio Valley. 60 in New York, 62 in Philadelphia, 61 all the way up into Boston. Temperatures here tomorrow could be approaching 70 degrees, I believe, in New York City. And you can see here the extent, very sharp boundary between the cold just to the north, very warm to the south. Look at that there. You can see 69 here in basically southeast Kansas, 43 up in northwest Kansas, and your low 20s up across the Dakotas. So a very, very warm day across the plains. Of course, the warmth way up here yesterday eradicated. We're seeing temperatures upwards of 77 degrees in Nebraska. Certainly nothing near that today. And of course, you've got the warmth now starting to get pressed eastwards as this cold front sweeps eastwards as well. But let's have a quick look actually at the European again, and you can see here again off the upper level pattern, the trough digging down, of course, pushing and pumping that warmer up into the plains. See, by Thursday here, you notice here a tongue of blue. You've got that trough digging into the northern plains, so a little brief shot of colder weather, nothing severe, nothing too terribly cold, but certainly a spell of more typical weather for this time of year across the northern plains. You notice here the ridging taking place again over the Pacific Northwest. That system now pushing into Texas. The problem spot is going to be right along these lines here, these lines of equal pressure, the upper level flow. You've got heavy rain that's going to start to develop over Texas into parts of Louisiana up into Arkansas as well. Very, very heavy corridor of rain here. As well as that, you've got warmth, moisture pumping up from the Gulf of Mexico. What that's going to do is it's going to feed strong, potentially severe thunderstorms across the Arklatex region. So don't be surprised if you see some damaging wind, large hail, and yeah, unfortunately, you can't rule out the possibility of a tornado as well. But certainly, it's going to be a very wet and pretty stormy conditions across parts of Texas into the Arklatex region as well. And what's catching my eye is the warmth that's getting pumped into the northeastern United States. Temperatures, I believe, potentially into the mid-70s. Yeah, that's right, mid-70s for DC and Baltimore. Low 70s for Philadelphia. And I think there's an outside possibility that we could see 70 degrees in Central Park. Maybe 71 in Newark. Maybe 65 to 68 in Boston. Very possible, I believe, if you've got a strong enough southwest wind, strong March sun at this time of year, and as well as that, you could maybe have some downsloping effect off the Appalachian Mountains as well. But certainly, let's skip ahead quickly to Saturday and look at the difference here across the northeast. Trough in, that trough that was over the northern plains is now pushed eastwards and into the northeast. So temperatures, 60s, even the 70s, will be dropped right down into the 40s, even 30s. Snow showers potentially riding across the northeast. What a difference 2 days makes across the northeast and across the United States as a whole at this time of year. March madness for sure, and of course this March is no exception to that rule. Up and down temperature swings. You notice here the cutoff low, more rain, and thunderstorm activity. You also notice here, as that jet becomes more zonal, look at that pocket of very warm air up across the northern plains. Now, see if you skip ahead to next week, folks, and I'm going to look at Tuesday. Look at how warm the central plains is looking. There is a potential here that we could see 80s all the way up into the South Dakota region, 90s for Nebraska. Could we see potentially 100-degree weather down across perhaps Kansas, western Oklahoma, western and central Texas? That's an outside possibility, folks, but we could be looking at here across the northern region the warmest conditions ever recorded in the month of March. Looking at certainly a very, very warm period during next week, and I do think we could be looking at 30 to 35 degrees above normal across the northern plains and into the Midwest as well. So remarkable stuff. Winter, is it going? Well, I'm certainly not seeing much evidence of winter with these models, that's for sure. Hope you have a terrific evening, folks. Hope you're staying safe wherever you are. Bye for now.